Yeah. I cannot hear anything, so I know exactly what I have to pick here. I'm pretty certain you can hear. Let me just pick here. So Elgato, monitor, and now I can hear the game. And Elgato, full screen projection. There we go. I'm just gonna check something because apparently a friend of mine is doing something on this thing right now on our project, and is writing something. So I'm also gonna check that. You can't forget that you're a judge or a government minister. Essentially, you gave the court a honest answer as a common man. You killed Inspector Tobias Briggs and transported his corpse back to Britain. Also, I'm like, oh shit. I just wrote something there. Can I turn that off? Then you dumped the body in the room of Francis Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what's really happened, isn't it? Eishiro Jigoku. Was that the damn trial 10 years? That's when it all began. Looking back now, my fate has been decided that day. I was doomed already. Oh, he's freaking out. Oh, it happened again. I know he talked that happened one time before. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus. I remember he did say that he had done that before 10 years ago. That actually broke. A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands, which is absolutely bullshit. It's right thing. I am gonna fix this. I am just gonna say I'm a bit like AFK. I'm gonna be AFK and stuff. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year. Oh, it was hardly a request, it was a demand. And for that you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi.
There we go. I was just gonna write something. That was a kind of an easy fix. But things didn't go up according to plan. You choose an assassin, never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place.
And that left me with only one option, carrying out my obligation. Eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that.
The National Forensic Science Symposium, I presume.
That's right. I decided I would be safe to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterparts. I made arrangement for a pretext I would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper.
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself. But don't go back to that goddamn idea, what the fuck? It was all planned by the Reaper.
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterparts. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin and on the steamship. Sorry, my screen sometimes just freaks out a bit and just blackens. So if you see me just read from there, that's because why. That is because why. Well, it was all that trap designed to lead him to France and his own death.
How awful.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. Choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. And the slightest noise would have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time wait.
For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock.
No, I had intended to finish him by strangulation. But moments before I had a chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in recklessness mode. I received the British issue gun 16 years ago earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined to have to use it for something like that. So, the revolver belongs to you, does it?
I was printing like a test thing. It's a dice inside here, but it's like a jaw that can open up. Because I thought of doing like some sort of thing that can hold a die. I don't know why, but I just felt for it. This is kind of fun because if you can see this, it actually moves up and down. But this is actually one print. I actually printed in a separate part in this. And it's like sliding so fucking nicely. It's like so awesome. Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Cruise. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the robe of Francis.
The younger judicial assistant there has already answered that question. There's no way I could take the body up on deck and throw it on the side. That's precisely why, where all the crew members were gathered for evacuation. So before the first class cabin sentry's return, I took the corpse to the refrigeration.
And then on arriving in Dover, you can steal the body in your trunk in order to smuggle past the border police.
I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced where the body was found in London.
In that case, you must have known. You must have intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule?
Yes, British counterparts sent me everything I need to do. Inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock. In order to meet a man by the name of Huge Bone, from whom he would take him back his police identification. I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as culprit. I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming comment there. I was more than a little nervous.
To be honest, I look more nervous than he does.
On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers.
Miss Venus Dawn, of course. Just because I had to.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. I donned a simple disguise and approached a girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gun shop.
What sort of disguise?
For some reason, the Inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case. I put that on. Although I suspect I drew more attention to myself than I would have otherwise.
The hairpiece we found on the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation.
I only arrived at the room around 4:45. I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board and set up my little candle. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang. Around 15 minutes late.
So, that Mr. Bone, who was due arrived, would walk straight into a trap.
Except, at the last moment I made a careless blunder.
What was that? What was that? I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips.
I didn't notice it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to refrigeration. Put it back into his pocket and the following morning, but... Well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the food. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did.
There's so much shit hiding.
I have heard enough. We arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime such of vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
An exchange of assassins. What a foolish idea. Mr. Yugoko, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassination exchange? Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us.
Enough! I already told you that I cannot say. Even though, as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. What are you waiting for? Can we get this over with now? It is finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. Seishiro Yigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found. But what about the Reaper? He is the one we're defending. Well, may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed. Is there like a third game after this? Because like this game came in like a package. And I still feel there's a lot missing, like who the Reapers is and stuff like that. Moments ago, Mr. Yigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent convenience of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt. I feel there's a lot of shit hiding. Oh, wonderful. Well done, Miss Naruto. Yes. Thank you. Is something wrong? I'm just a little troubled by his silence. The true identity of the Reaper of the Bales and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. Hold on, how did I do this? I have very intention of pursuing both as a prosecutor. As you wish. Now for the formal education. I hereby declare defendant Barrett Van Scenes. Yeah, there we have it. There we fucking have it. I knew it would happen. He was too fucking silent. The prosecution calls for an education to be deferred. Counsel. The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all, and therefore it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is what the prosecution's unwavering position. Holy shit, this guy! But Yoshikoku has already confessed. Nevertheless, Barrow Van Siex has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Well, it will appear you have information that the court need to hear. Prosecutor Asso. Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Yigoku. But it's clear from the witness testimony that he was considered into complying with the plot. Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange. That may be true, but... So, what I want to know is who Corsair Yigoku, who was pulling the strings. The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such orders. As we already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Baruch Van Siex, of being the Reaper of the Bales. And furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. Well, this is bullshit. I'm wondering what my friend is after. Order. Order, everyone. The Reaper of the Baileys is a long-standing mystery, Count. Are you suggesting some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Siex very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he was the Reaper.
I kinda like this, because it's so nice how everything just fits together, even though these are technically two models in one.
Perhaps. But circumstances have now changed. What do you mean? It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Goku by the Reaper himself. Which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say, I am surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Six. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes. Very well. While it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he had with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. Thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I'm gonna try something just because I want to. It kind of fits nicely here though. The dice. It's only like on the sides it really easily falls off. Outside it's not as easy. I think I have to like either change the jaw how far up it goes or how low. But I'm gonna have like stuff going there. I am gonna crop the moving piece so it actually goes up because you can see actually it sticks out here a bit. But this is actually fucking fun. Now I actually managed to do something that is two models, but was printed as one, and it actually moves so fucking nicely. For fuck's sake, another flame. Well, here we go then. Boot time! Unfortunately, Turtle Girl is not here. I pray, turn a blind eye to the discourtesy, as I will verify that this vile unremitting accusation has soared the contents of my hallowed child. He has allowed to fucking like whine a bit here. I first had to suffer pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago. And ever since that time, I have endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. Then let's justice decide, Lord Van Six. Like, I'm starting to question if he just says he wants Lord Van Six to be found guilty, just because he wants to continue the trial until he finds the true culprit. In order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailies. And what says the defense? But the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. I assume someone is emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically. You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. I came here today to determine to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer and his friend. The defense has no objection, my lord. Very well. The defendant will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. As you wish, my lord. It's kind of fun to roll. I think I have, like, I think I'm that kind of person that just enjoys just doing something with my hands. Like fidgeting around with stuff. Like, for example, I printed, I think it is in my pocket right now, so I don't have it here because I changed pants. But I have this like infinity cube. Like if you pull it out, you can pull it out like that, like that, like that, until it becomes like flat, and then it becomes a cube again, and then it becomes like this, like it goes around just infinitely. And I just like to have that in my hand and just rolling it around. So I feel like I'm that kind of person that like just fidgeting around with shit.
I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed it to kill. I have been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Francis Street that day, and how I came to discover the point. The point. No common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange.
The only thing I can say he has a connection with Dr. Wilson and Gregson is that Gregson did say that they were supposed to open up his brother. That's the only thing I can think of.
Both that you are the Reaper of the Bayless, and that you are mastermind of the assassin exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in position to forswear.
Naturally, prosecution believes that the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo,
Yes?
let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this court?
I desire to uncover the truth. Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty. From all my experience in the courtroom, I have come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth.
I want you to remember what you just said. Enough dilatory chatter.
I'm just also gonna check that no one has written something. Okay, yep, nothing important from now.
Enough dilly-dally of the chatter. Counsel of the defense, proceed with the cross-examination of the witness.
Yes, my lord. Yeah, I think I know also where it is. Because the only connection between Wilson, Gregson, and that is literally just like that. I'm gonna go directly there. I'm gonna go directly there because I believe that's where it is. I'm gonna put a point here. There is a link between you and Gregson, though.
Of course. We were close acquaintances. We'd work on numerous cases together. I consider the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons.
It did? Such as what?
Where to buy good fish and chips, and such like.
Fair point.
Dr. Wilson was a courier, of course. But that was some time in the past. In that case, I understand that it was several years ago. Now that he was invited to work at the Japanese university.
That's right, he was visiting professor at Imperial Yume University in London, in Tokyo.
It should be unambiguously clear that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive to sending some assassin across the ocean to kill the man.
Okay. So I am gonna save because I don't want to lose some health. I'm gonna see if I can do something in the background. Hold on. This is just some schoolwork. Like, it's still school for at least one more week. So there are like some last stuff things I'm just gonna do. I'm just gonna have to like see if I can somehow find it. Ah, there we go. FX reader. We do that. There we go. Now it's just cloning. It's just cloning. Use GitHub to be able to actually send things back and forth. So I might just do that a bit in stream, because it's technically nothing I just need to do. It's other than just telling it to be something. Because the problem is right now that someone sent me is that for some reason there's a problem that there are some values that are just trash values. And that's because we technically are not telling it to be something. Like when you create in code something that is just a variable but doesn't give it like a start variable, it becomes a trash value because it doesn't have 0, it doesn't have 5, it's like just continue on and on and on. And it took some time to understand what the hell he meant by that first, because I was like, why the whole scene thing doesn't really do anything. But I figured out that out now, and it's because it doesn't have a parent at first. And because it doesn't have a parent, it doesn't have anything. And because I technically doesn't say the parent's name to be nothing, it technically just sends out a scrap value, because I say this is gonna be a line of text that is nothing. But it is nothing. It is not like it's nothing. It's nothing, which means it's just trash values because there's something there. It's the reminiscence of a variable that's supposed to be there. Okay, so back to this. So that's why I'm like doing this, because I kind of want to just fix it a bit quick. Also, we are gonna do this.
Objection!
Yeah, I thought so. What is this? An autopsy report. Wait. This is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Clint Van Seeks. What? My brother's autopsy report. I am pleased to see that the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Yeah, well, fuck you. Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, Count? This is the autopsy report of Professor's final victim. It is an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Not that accursed name. The Professor. I personally researched all of the court records relating to the case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege of the victim's soul. And for a member of the aristocracy, like Lord Van Seeks, it was unthinkable. Aristocratic. But someone implored the power that be allowed the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain a conclusive proof from the procedure. It was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document. As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved that Agentia Sog was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for these crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Norvan Seeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death, with a marvelous victory in court. So why would he kill them? A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact a fabricate? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to catch an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and sent him to his death. That's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason, the secret has been threaded and needs protected. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silent. By someone in the power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. Order! Order! 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham. And I swore to myself that I'd prove it, which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. I do love him fucking chilling around right now. You will have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese tenet of purpose. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in court has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazuma, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in trial and took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's not more than a wild accusation. As it happens, I have evidence. As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him to the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. But my true intention were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence. And I acknowledge that it already deducted. There is a closely guarded secret about what went on in the autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword Karuma before the inspector's eye. He very quickly understood what my true motive.
Right, I see. That's a Saga's young lad, are you? What? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it?
Oh, will very well much depend on the answer you give my question. My flask. Citrus water. Oh, also, I forgot to do this. Hold on. You're fucking loud as hell. But yeah, Torakai followed me yesterday. Yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday because I was in VC with Yoko Pokomo, Miyako, and Torakai. I was playing some stuff and they were playing Monster Hunter. I have Monster Hunter, but not the PC version, so I was mostly just a bystander. It's kind of sad that the fucking game developer thing is just like, no, we're not gonna do this. Like, why the fuck not? Like, Jesus. Do you know how fucking stupid that is? But yeah, so I was literally... So apparently, I talked about my goals and like what my goals was and stuff like that. And I just realized that I had counted all my followers in the latest days. And it was like, oh yeah, so we have gotten to the board game stream already. And I was so fucking confused because I just checked and was like, 41. I was like, I know I counted So I was like very like confused of what happened. Sheepy Twigs. When? 3 days ago. Yeah, I think I was actually streaming while it was done. Okay, I was just checking. At first I didn't recognize the name. Sheepy Twigs. I must have been doing something, so I didn't really realize it. But yes, I just counted. I just like, oh, I have 41 now. Like, what the hell? Did I count wrong anywhere? I didn't. It just happened the same day.
Before we go into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was a professor. There's no doubt in my mind. Unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So, you admitted that. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated. It was for good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak. I was saying on a word. Even if your life depends. That's right. Even then.
And that's where the sword got stuck in his trunk. So, that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Kazuma-sama.
In the result of Colin Van Sieg's autopsy were fabricated. The investigation officer Gregson and the lead coroner Wilson must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to prevent the court of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Baruch Van Sieg.
No. No, that's actually not true now I think of it. He demanded to be the prosecutor, but he was not meant to be the prosecutor. He was supposed to be the prosecutor. I did say he was a dickhead.
Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Yugoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Baruch Van Sieg.
Objection!
Kazuma Asogi. What? What you just told the court. Are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission. In that case, I know the name of the Reaper.
What? Yeah, because literally, I believe it's the same as I just said to you people. Like, we are not the Reaper. We are not. He is not the Reaper because he was not supposed to be the prosecutor. He demanded to be the prosecutor because it was his brother. But he was not meant to be the one. That's why he knows the name of the Reaper. Because he knows who was supposed to be prosecutor.
I gave no such orders. I know that for a certain. Which narrows it down remaining possibilities to one. Lord Van Sieg wasn't the one behind all this. Yes, there's only one other person who could have done something like this. I believe I know who it is too. You?
I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Baileys is... Where the fuck is he? I know he's supposed to be here somewhere. Where is this ugly mug? There you have it.
Take that!
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Miles Strongheart. Yeah. Yes. It is true that 10 years ago the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court, but he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Siegs, had been killed. I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. Well, Lord Van Siegs? 10 years. I was very new to my profession, but I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I plead for the control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the Lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined, all the evidence I was given, the autopsy report, it all came from you. I have spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle it. But I see now. I was very much mistaken. It was hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And the same force that was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Shinshiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart. Everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Baileys. This is getting intense, people! Second boot of the day, and Turtle Girl is not here. That is such a shame. The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well be going down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accuse. Don't be absurd. The defense claims are utter nonsense and the wild fantasy test. You're not going to defend yourself. You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Siegs' outcomes. That's utterly untrue.
Objection!
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And you were, and there is your evidence. Gregson's dead. And unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand. I forget how the system works in your little backwater country. But in a court in British Empire without evidence, there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything. Order in court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder, and the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events 10 years ago. Is there? So that is the real purpose of the Assassin's Exchange. This court has no business ranking over the coals of a case that was concluded 10 decades. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorical denied. I take it there is no objection. Do I have anything I can shove up his ass right now? Hold on. I have... No, not this. Have we ever used this? The last will and testament of Genjin Asogi, that Mr... The only weapon I have left. I can request that upon my death, and Anya and all material possession and wealth belonging to me in London will be leveled to my son, Kazuma Sogi, in the Empire of Japan. It is with deepest sadness I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again. But I regret nothing about my chosen path. It's more or less waited this whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there not a avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint. He's gone to extraordinary length to cover his tracks. Even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silent. And Dr. Scythe won't say anything against Strongheart. But there is still one ray of hope. Actually, there's one person. Technically, I don't know, because I might actually do the like something wrong here. So I'm gonna save, but I believe it might be Genshin. One person who can still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous. There is no one left. Who, Ryunosuke? Who? Tell me. Kazuma, please. This trial can't end, not yet. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for the truth. The person that the defense would like to call to stand to satisfy the autopsy of Clint Van Seeks is... I technically don't know, so he... No, not him. We don't have Genshin Asogi here, apparently, so that's nothing we can do.
Take that!
Deny. Yeah. I was just guessing mostly there. Someone about the autopsy. We need to first know about the autopsy. Yeah, I knew about that. Yeah, I know it was false. Unfortunately, I have forgotten. I don't play this game like 6 hours in a row. I literally just do 3 per week. Like, fucking hell.
Take that!
I actually have forgotten who the fuck was there. I have no fucking idea actually right now. Who was there 10 years ago? Who the fuck was there? Oh, now I remember. Fuck. I remember now. He was there.
Take that!
I don't know why he didn't cut to me first, but we know that. Heavens help us. Another Japanese. An expert of forensic medicine, my lord. Professor Jujin Mikotobak, 16 years ago, he came to London with Senjiro and Genshin Asogi as a visiting student. And what could this testimony possibly tell us? Professor Mikotobak was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report. Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carried his signature. It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the autopsy's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report and at the end and signed it. In other words, the Professor Megatobak witnessed this entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Megatobak to be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. The defense demand is denied. Professor Mikatobis is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes. No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone he knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself. Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only 10 minutes ago you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of mastering the assassin exchange. I did, yes. So present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete. The professor case is closed. There is no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by a spirit of your late mystical father. Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion. With respect to the matter at hand, Inspector Gregson was murdered by a Japanese Supreme Court judge, Seishiro Yigo. As any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by proper authorities.
Objection.
But we all know that what will happen. That just give the mastermind the whole venture time to cover his tracks again. By which you mean? Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asoka, you will be remanded of following these proceedings willingly. I trust since you gave your word. This futile game is over. Game of revenge is over. Young Master Asogi. It's just because he is standing there. Someone should be capable of just sitting there like, yeah, he's a complete dumbass. That will be all. I hereby declare this. Jesus, someone is saying hold it. Who the fuck says hold it? He says it! What the fuck, where did he come from? Is this Sholmes? This is no place for amateur deduction, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the court at once. Also, this music and what's going on, it actually gives goosebumps. Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Shinshiro Yigoko before he fled to Europe. The court should hear what he has to say. Lord Manuel Strongheart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to the end at this stage. Is it real? And why would that be? You need only to recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that I share a shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it? The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along the provocation of your superiors? Yeah, he started saying like, "Oh, you're just gonna say A-OK for all this?"
Order in court. It seems that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendance. For you, and you alone, my dear fellow, have the power to push this door open. The auditors in the gallery have no right to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence!
Holy shit. No one knows what's gonna happen now, because some of them says, yeah, like, he is the ruler of the court right now. And everyone else is just questioning, but why do he want it to end so fucking quickly? Holy shit. I fucking love this. He is fucking going down right now.
A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery.
Hey, Turtle Girl! Welcome to the stream! Also, if you're wondering what's going on, Sholmes here just stirred up some whole fucking shit going on. Like, oh my fucking god. Everyone wants Miko Tobak to testify. I'm gonna try and explain what you have missed. So we managed to get that Jigoku actually was... Ooh. Yeah, like, what you hear in the background, that is his doing. That is his fucking doing. So, as we knew last time, Judge Jigoku was the one who actually murdered Gregson because he was defending himself and stuff like that. He has been sent to prison now because of that. But we still continued on because someone had to be the Reaper. So our friend Asogi just continued on with saying that the real Reaper is the Reaper. And that's why, and the Reaper was the one that told both Gregson and Jigoku to more or less kill each other. Like, that's why everything happened. So we still needed some evidence. Apparently, Asogi had questioned Gregson and said that the autopsy of Clint... No, the autopsy of Clint, yeah, was falsified. And that's why his father got accused. That's for first of all why he was so in point of actually pointing out Van Zieks all the time. Because his point was that the prosecutor, the doctor and Gregson, and the coroner, of course, the Dr. Wilson, Dr. Scythe, and Gregson was the only one who could do it together with the prosecution. And here where the fun thing comes. If you remember before, we have been told many times that Van Zieks forced himself into the prosecution. He was not the prosecution at the beginning. He forced himself to be there because of vengeance. The one that was supposed to be the prosecution was Lord Strongheart. So right now we started to point fingers as the man that is holding this court right now. So he started to blame that there is no one else who can actually talk about 10 years ago because everyone is dead or don't want to talk. But then we said that the only one left was Miko Tobak, because he was actually the assistant of Dr. Wilson. But when we say that, he denies it. Because he is the one that is allowed to actually say that no more witness is gonna come in. So this guy here comes in, tells to all the people that does it actually sound like the court should just end now? And people start to question why they are there, because all of them were like, yeah, Lord Strongheart is the one that actually holds the court right now. But there are still gaps, and for some reason it doesn't continue. So that more or less sums up of why the hell the court sounds like a goddamn chorus right now. Because right now he told everyone to make sure the court continues. Lord Strongheart doesn't have any power. Yeah, that's a lot. Like, seriously, that's a lot. But when they said it was false, they're saying testify. Because Professor Mika Tobak, we called him as a witness. But Lord Strongheart denied it. So right now they're just chanting testify. Because he is the one that's supposed to testify now. So I managed to figure out it absolutely is Strongheart after they said it was falsified. And the only one who could have done it is the prosecutor. Because I know that the prosecutor was not Van Siegs at that time. Also, unfortunately for you, Turtle Girl, you have missed 2 boots already. There have been 2 boots in 1 hour. I think you'll find it be rather awkward to silence. Yeah, it's been 2 boots. The court will recess briefly. Hopefully we have a third time. But it's only as long as this guy is trying to defend himself like a bastard. Because he only does it when something is going wrong. When Van Siegs doesn't like something, he throws up his boot. And it had happened twice. By leave, I arranged the Sabonia with a witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives at the courthouse, we shall reconvene. A recess won't be necessary, my lord. Oh god, he is playing dirty right now. I think he wants to do a recess because he either just is... Well, first of all, they need a recess to get the guy. But he either wants to do something. He either wants to silence or just run away. But we don't need a recess now. Oh, you dirty bastard, Shobs. Mika Tobak is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is willing to enter the antechamber as we speak. Oh, you're such a dirty bastard. Oh my god. I do believe he had been enjoying a little trip down memory lane. Fuck. What? Professor Mika Tobak is here in the court. Mr. Shams, you didn't know this would happen, did you? He has fucking everything planned. That's the worst part. Like, he has planned all of this, but he is mostly shit when we're trying to do something at small cases. Like, what the fuck? Like, for example, I am the defense lawyer because I didn't want anyone to be an assassin. That's why he just forced me to come here. Like, what the fuck? I was just asking it for the fun of it, you know? Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Jones. Because I cannot run away anymore. But of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of this development. Mr. Narahudo. Yes? I trust you have Iris' little lucky charm with you. Absolutely. It's still in my pocket. She sends her regards and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the heirs are at your disposal. Just one thug, if you please. Oh, of course. In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the staff. Let's see if we have a third time. It's mostly because this guy is now the one being just pointed at right now. Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I am ready. I have pulled my pants up all the way to the navel, and I am ready. I have not done that, just so you know. It's just, for some reason, I felt for saying that. It's kinda unpleasant to do that, because you more or less give yourself a goddamn... I don't know, pants with. That's not fun at all. Well, look at that. Well, have you look at that. Oh, I was just wondering what they were playing. Oh, why is the coroner here? I like her, but at the same time, she freaks me the hell out. So, witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
Eugene Mikotobak, lecturer in forensic medicine at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo, Japan.
What are you staring at? Professor Mikotobak, that young lady beside you is...
Oh, this is Dr. Maria Gore. Scotland Yard practicing coroner. The daughter of Dr. Scythe, I understand.
Yes, Dr. Scythe.
I'm afraid I can't tell you why she's here. She just appeared.
Why are you staring at him like that? You summoned this strange Japanese man as a witness to that autopsy. But you don't summon Mama. That makes no sense. She was there too. Yeah, but she doesn't want to fucking speak. That's the problem.
But that's about the size of it. I had her eyes boring onto the side of my cheek constantly, while I was on the antechamber too.
Poor man. The idea of it is making me shudder.
The revelation about sites that came to light some days ago defined the reputation of the entire dispute. He was therefore deemed unfit to appear as a witness in today's proceedings, and that's what he wanted. The Minister of Justice's decision on that is final. Well, we wouldn't want any more perjury to be committed, would we?
Let's see how this goes.
I remember you, Dr. Mickelton. But I certainly never expected to be meeting you under these circumstances. Yes, it's been a long while, what's the apart. The prosecution understands that you were a visiting student at forensic science in London until 10 years ago. That's right. I studied under Dr. Wilson at Dr. Sinnett. You were present at the autopsy of my brother, Lord Clintvax. I was, yes. I assisted Dr. Wilson with the entire procedure.
Mama is far more skilled than any Japanese man.
Well, Dr. Wilson asked me to be his primary assistant on that occasion.
Well, at the same time, we shouldn't say anything. I don't own those knives myself because I'm pretty certain they're as expensive hell, but I'm pretty certain I have very good cooking knives.
Yes, I noted all of the doctor's findings and we were done. He read through the document and signed it.
Poor Mama. As a secondary assistant, she wouldn't have had such a good view of all the innards.
So, Professor, do you remember Inspector Gregson? Oh yes, of course. It wasn't all for his assistance, Lord Van Sieg's autopsy would never have happened. But he was absolutely convinced that it would reveal the decisive evidence against Genshin use. Lord Strongheart had to entrain the nobility to allow it to take place. To correct me if I'm wrong, my lord. It was all the result of that autopsy that that a mass murderer was apprehended and justice was done. But Gregson admitted it before he was killed. He admitted that the results of the autopsy were fabricated. You were there at the time, so you must testify. You have an obligation to tell the truth about what really went on. And also, welcome, humble viewers, to the stream I'm holding here in our little kingdom in the corner of Twitch. Grab yourself some snacks and something good to drink, and I do hope you enjoy your stay. And soon we're gonna plan a creepy video stream and a community board game stream. For those who are wondering how that's gonna work, there is a site called Board Game Arena, which is online and free. It's just to sign in there, just tell me the names, and I will more or less just invite you to those games. Because I actually I don't know, promenade on that site, I can actually play all the games. So if you actually want to join in with that, do check out the Discord wells, because I'm pretty certain it will be mostly... most of the information is gonna be there. A massive spider. I have no problem with spiders. I have been living with spiders for a long time. I like spiders. Sure, I really don't want them on my arm, craggling on top of me. It's not... I'm gonna try putting it outside while having a meltdown. Alright. Sure, I don't like having spiders on me. Like, I use paper and stuff, but I have no problem with spiders. I don't know why. It's just like I just want them not on me. Remember that. Remember what? I did actually not read that. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Oh, bloody hell. From my own observation, I couldn't say there was any indication of that autopsy result having been falsified. Death resulted from a wound made by a Western-style sword transfixed to the heart. That I found a little strange.
No other signs of eternal injury. Nothing questionable at all. It was just that beautiful but dangerous piece of evidence removed from the man's stomach.
Presume that would have been swallowed by the victim as a way of posthumously identifying his assailant. Sorry, I thought something popped up there. No indication. Nothing to suggest fabrication. Professor Mikatobak, are you certain about that? Well, nothing I could possibly identify as such. Much less swear to testify. Well, that clears things up nice. The only fabrication here, Asogi, has come from you. You claim the Spectre confessed just before his death, but that is fabrication. Really? With the tip of a sword at his throat, the man was clearly at his wit's end. The court will give no credence to this confession that was uttered in obvious desperation. Quite simple. There was nothing questionable about the investigation of Lord Clint Van Seek's death. And with this testimony we have, without question, uncovered the whole truth of the matter. If I may, my lord, there was supposedly something questionable about it, and the whole truth does rather elude us, I think. I beg your pardon. Well, you're obviously aware of the facts of the case. All four of the professor's previous victims died when an enormous beast was set upon them They ripped out her throats.
Oh, such horrifying crimes.
But curiously, the killer's last victim, Lord Clint Van Seek, suffered a different fate.
Yes, you're right.
He was stabbed through the heart with a sword.
That's enough. I believe I warned you about this witness.
Yay, you did it.
I promised to curtail your testimony as soon as it entered the realms of supposition and speculation.
Very well, my lord. In that case, the defense will pursue a conclusion to this during the cross-examination.
What?
I have the right to cross-examine every witness after testimony. And I fully intend to exercise that right.
I'm afraid that even the presiding judge has no authority to contravene the letter of the law. I'm sure every member of the judiciary presented in the gallery would agree.
He doesn't like this. He doesn't fucking like this. He's just standing around with a goddamn butcher knife.
Very well. You may begin, counsel. However, the moment your arguments stray from the established fact, I will not hesitate to bring the cross-examination to an end. Proceed with caution.
Hold it!
In all the previous 4 killings attributed to the professor, the victims were killed by an enormous dog, I believe. Their throats were, well, mauled.
Correct. And yet Lord Van Six was stabbed.
Do you mean to say you think Lord Clint Van Six may have not in fact been the one the professor's victim?
There's no Hold on. There's no basis on which to doubt the findings of the investigation carried out at the time. Genshin Asogi confessed to all of his crimes upon his arrest. He admitted to having taken the lives of all 5 of the aristocratic here.
Oh, I went to IKEA for the first time ever yesterday. Oh, nice. How was it? Did you get lost? It was not time ago actually went to IKEA. I probably are a bit more. I don't know how many IKEAs there are in different countries. I know there is one in Britain because I've heard another British person actually had to hire a goddamn person to actually fix some IKEA furniture. Also, hello, Gani! Welcome to the stream. Nice. I hope you had a good time there. I haven't been in IKEA for a long time. By the way, if you wonder what's going on, we have right now pointed out the High Counselor, Lord Strongheart, as the murderer. Because he is supposed to be the Reaper. So we managed to get the Japanese judge, Yigoku, as being the one that murdered Mr. Gregson. Detective Gregson. Wait, they actually said hey. It means hi, I think you know that, but still, they actually speak Swedish there? What the fuck? No problem at all, Gani, no problem at all. But yes, so we pointed him out, but for some reason, Asogi was still determined that there has to be a Reaper, and the Reaper has to be Van Seeks. Because he managed to force out from Inspector Gregson that they falsified the autopsy report at that time, and he knew that the only one who could do that is the coroner, their assistant, and the prosecution.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of cool though. They actually have Swedish stuff, even though they are like in another country. That's actually very interesting.
Nice.
But yeah, so he said that that was their only one, which means that's why he pointed fingers to Van Zieks, because he was the prosecutor at the time. But that's where my brain started to think, and even Van Zieks' brain. He wasn't the prosecutor. He forced himself to be the prosecutor because he wanted revenge. The one that was supposed to be prosecutor was Lord Strongheart. And at that point, we literally pointed out that he is the one that has to be put into, like, charge. But no one at that time either lived or enabled to talk. For example, Jigoku don't talk. We cannot talk to the coroner, Dr. Scythe, and the rest is dead. But we did say that Mikotobak actually was still alive, because at that time no one knew he was actually there, apparently. Lord Strongheart denied that strongly and said, like, we don't need any more witness. So Sholmes just came in, said to everyone in the jury, are you just gonna say A-okay to this guy, or do you want the whole truth? And everyone just fucking chored together to have this guy as a witness. So that's kind of what you missed. Yeah, no problem at all, Gani. I am gonna continue here. I don't know how much more of the game there is. A true hound. A true hound. Hell. What piece of evidence? What exactly was it, though? What does beautiful but dangerous mean?
Well, it was sparkly and round, with a hole. As if it might slip over a finger, perhaps.
It was a ring belonging to Genshin Asogi. My father's ring was inside the victim's stomach. At the time, Genshin wore a large ring on the digistus quarters of his left hand, the fourth ring finger, ring finger. I understood there was some sort of keepsake. When my father left Japan for London 16 years ago, I was 8 years, but I remember that ring. You do? My father's possessions were sent to our family home in Japan after his death, but the ring wasn't amongst them. Obviously not. It was a key piece of evidence. It remains in the lock and key in the stores at Scotland Yard to this day. After the autopsy, Genshin was summoned by the police to check for the presence of his ring. It wasn't on his hand, of course. Moreover, there were deep abrasions on his finger, where it had been pulled off. There is a man there and then, right before my eyes. How could they?
I brought the ring, along with me today.
What? You're amazing.
Here it is. It's a bit dusty from years in the stores.
Good gracious, yes, that's it. I haven't seen that in 10 long years. And that was found inside the victim's stomach. Yes, I'm afraid so. You hesitated there, Professor Mikotobak. Should we read something into that? Well, I just think back now. I didn't actually witness the moment it was extracted from the victim's body.
Oh my, really?
At that precise moment, Dr. Wilson had asked me to fetch my new scalpel, yes. Dr. Go. The removal of historic evidence from the stores requires my consent. Does it not?
I love she does just do that when she's like not gonna answer anything. Like, I don't give a fucking shit. However, it came to be here today. The court cannot deny that this crucial evidence for today's proceedings.
Very well. You may submit it.
Okay, we're gonna check the shit out of this ring thing. It's not a sort of ring normally seen in Japan. They almost look like claws protecting that jewel.
Let's examine evidence.
Yeah, I am about to. Hold on. Let me just check this thing. Okay, let's check. Nothing there. These fat claws are doing a good job of protecting the equality fat gemstone in the middle of this ring.
Yes. If you were clumsy, you would give yourself a rather nasty cut on them, I should think.
Ow. Now my finger is bleeding. Claws really are sharp.
Oh my. That was very quick clumsiness, Miss Naruto. Even for you.
Who will make such a dangerous thing? You couldn't swallow it without doing yourself some fairly serious damage, surely.
I was thinking mushi bun about that size would go down much better. With some red bean paste in the middle.
Okay, so if we check the autopsy. Death from a single stab wound to the heart. Other superficial stone wounds indicated of duel. Note recent scarlet ink stains visible on the little and ring finger of the right hand, but no document in corresponding ink was found. Vital evidence recovered from the victim's stomach during autopsy. Credited to Inspector Gregson for a petition dodgily. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. I have.
Objection!
Okay, I did the wrong thing. Because it doesn't say any superficial thing.
Hold it!
And that was the decisive piece of evidence that led to Genshin Soge's arrest.
Correct. After further investigation by Scotland Yard, the man admitted to his crimes. That's a lie. My father was no killer. Barack Van Six, it was you. You twisted truth suit your purpose. Your hatred for me does not change the facts that were established 10 years ago. My brother Clint had closed in on the professor. In the end, he exposed the man and put a stop to his lethal rampage. In the end, the way only a man, my brother Caliber, could.
I think it's either the autopsy, because it doesn't say anything about wounds on the innards. Let's check here. I managed to mess up before. I know I did. Yeah, so we've done that. Oh, whoops. Fuck.
Ah, I misclicked.
There we go. So I'm gonna present this.
Objection!
Fuck. Okay. I felt that was the only thing I could do there, but I might be completely wrong. Well, I am wrong because I've already proved myself wrong twice now.
Hold it!
Oh, we already done this. Shit. I did check the ring fully, right? Because when... Yeah, so we have checked the ring fully. We can only see that it's sharp. I cannot check the autopsy report like I do here. It's literally just like reading.
Hold it!
You couldn't say.
No, sadly not.
But then you couldn't say there wasn't any indication either, could you?
Oh, true. I couldn't. It was the doctor at Dr. Wilson's side that had performed the procedure, recording what he did. But at times, of course, he instructed me to fetch implements and such likes. While as I was away from the operating table, I could have missed something.
Following this Japanese man's orders to adjust the lighting or pass him implements. But that doesn't mean Mama wasn't a vital part of the team.
Quite, yes. So, would you kindly refrain from staring at my cheek like that?
Professor Mikotobak, think. Was there nothing at all that seemed out of place?
Well, yes, there was. A matter of fact.
Hold it!
I already did this, technically. Oh, there was no other signs of internal injury.
Objection!
There we go, I was the wrong one. The court has heard that the ring was extracted from the victim's stomach. But you didn't actually see it being removed, did you, Professor Mikotobak?
That's right. As I said in my testimony before, at that moment I was fetching a replacement scalpel that Dr. Wilson had requested.
In other words, you can neither confirm nor deny whether this ring, in fact, really came from the victim's stomach or not. What are you suggesting, counsel? That the ring was never in the victim's stomach to begin with. It's entirely feasible that Dr. Wilson fabricated that detail about the autopsy. What are you saying? That Dr. Wilson was in possession of the ring in advance, after it was somehow stolen from Mr. Asogi. And he produced it during the procedure, pretending to have found it there and then, in the victim's stomach. Supposition at best. What possible evidence do you have to support such a rash claim? The evidence right here. That's the autopsy report. It's explicit in that report, counsel. Other than the ring, nothing unusual was noted internally. So I'm not sure how you intend to prove your point. You already done it for me, my lord. The lack of internal injury says it all. What? To swallow a ring of this size would require some considerable effort and determination. And in addition to its size, there are these sharp claws around the gemstone to contend with it. My brother was a determined man, and on the brink of death. Even more so, I'm sure.
he would have stopped at nothing to ensure that evil killer was brought to justice.
But if you really had swallowed that enormous ring, it is inconceivable that no traces of its passage down his throat would have remained as internal trauma.
No. And there, you have arrived at a ticking point. That's precisely why I had my doubts about the findings myself 10 years ago. Then why didn't you say something at the time? I did. I still remember the conversation I had with Dr. Wilson in the laboratory that day. Look at this. Now, this is a very curious thing in a man's stomach, wouldn't you say? But isn't that rather peculiar, Dr. Wilson? What's that now, Mikotoba? Well, if you swallow that ring that size with those sharp metal claws that it has, surely you would expect to see damage to the throat and esophagus, thorn mucous membranes at the very best. Dr. Mikoto, may I remind you that I have a vastly more experience than you. I'm terribly sorry. I can think of plenty of ways to explain why no injuries would be seen. No, let's say this. The victim would appear to have ingested the item as evidence to identify his assailant. Go ahead, write it down. So I was right. Dr. Wilson deliberately fabricated the results of the autopsy to implicate my father. I am disappointed, Counts. That argument is nothing more than speculation. What? Dr. Wilson was a British leading authority of forensic science and autopsy. There is no scientific basis on which to doubt the man's expert opinion. Pardon my interruption, my lord, but damage to the mucous membranes of the throat is easily identified even in living subjects.
Using a device called the endoscope recently demonstrated in practical use in France. I want one. The government can pay.
I don't think so. And Dr. Gore, rest assured that your removal of evidence from their stores without permission will not go unpunished.
We open up the dead to find the truth.
I beg your pardon.
But Mama, she chose to stitch her corpse up with all her secrets inside. That's wrong.
Dr. Gore, this looks like though she's chosen to walk a different path to her mama. I think she's saying that her mother is keeping silent because of all the shit that's been like put towards her. But she doesn't, because she doesn't have a reason to right now.
Yes. The ring. What about the ring? I've just remembered something. In an earlier incident.
What incident?
The one I recounted to you before. About a memory I had. Of Genshin Asagi saving my life. What? My father saved your life. It was 10 years ago. On a foggy night. Genshin and I were walking down some back street at a late hour. All of a sudden, all of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scars. The next thing I knew, they were all silence around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left eye. it shielded. It was on the ring finger of his left hand that he used to wear that ring. Are you saying... I've always believed that those thugs were after me. But now I'm starting to question if perhaps I wasn't the intended target after all. Wait, but... Genshin was arrested 2 days after that attack. And in that short interval, the decisive evidence needed to indict him was miraculously found. You mean the ring was stolen from him? You think that's what those thugs were after that night? Oh, damn.
Objection!
You pathetic coward. You expect me to believe that you weren't involved. What do you mean by that? It was you, wasn't it? You were the one who took it. You stole my father's ring. You set the whole thing up and you could paint him as a murderer. Kasuma, open your eyes. You must know deep down, the truth can be completely obscured even when your judgment is only slightly clouded. But at that moment, it seems you to be floundering through a dense fog. Is that why you were so intense I should present in this trial? To see you like this? Well, this is an amusing spectacle. What a grandiose expression on your face, as if you were Lady Justice herself. It seems you thoroughly convinced yourself of this alleged fabrication of the autopsy results. So much that you're apparently blind to that blatant contradiction that will be born out of it. What? Though it is extremely hard to believe. Let us imagine that there was some misconduct during the autopsy. If that were the case, why would Asogi not have disputed the findings in his trial? In a closed court hearing 10 years ago, the defendant never once denied the claims against him. Isn't that right, Lord Van Seats? Yes, that is indeed correct. Upon hearing the verdict of guilty, he merely closed his eyes, quietly accepting the judgment. The action of a man who has accepted responsibility for his deeds and is resigned to his fate. But then...
Oh my. That is very strange. If Mr. Sogi did nothing to oppose the charges against him, then... that would surely mean there was no fabricated evidence.
An obvious conclusion at which you should have arrived many minutes ago, Prosecutor Asogi. Your twisted loyalty and clouded judgment, hampering your ability for logical reason. Genshin Asogi's silence at his hearings can mean only one thing. There was no fabrication of evidence during the autopsy of his final victim 10 years ago.
Objection!
Thank you, Ryunosuke. If it wasn't for your frank words right now, this trial may very well have ended prematurely. What is with this latest absurdity, Counsel? My lord, your reasoning is perfectly sound. For one giant hole, but one giant hole. I beg your pardon.
You claim my father's silence was due to the fact that there was no fabricated evidence. Well, there's another possible explanation. You overlooked the possibility that he had a reason for maintaining his silence. Silence that would lead him being convicted and sent to his death. If the autopsy result were an invention, there's no convincible reason why the man wouldn't have been protested.
Objection!
Oh, those results were just inventions, right? There's no question of that. Or are you forgetting that two people who connection to that autopsy have been assassinated? If I force the grievance I feel from my mind, I start to see you in a very different light. I think perhaps it's you who has been living in delusion these 10 years. Good grief.
And we can only show there was a reason for his father's silence.
Enough rhetoric. The court must be shown evidence. What proof do you have that could possibly explain Asogi's silence in court?
Take that!
I'm just guessing. This is the defense answer to that question. Nope. Because the music continued. I'm gonna save because I don't trust myself.
If Kazuma-sama's father knew that the evidence being used to convict him was fabricated, why would he said nothing in this trial?
If it were me, I would have protested my innocence until I was blue in the face. That's very latest, so that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter either. No, that's something else. No. No. There's like only 3 things we have connection with Asogi. This thing, and this thing.
Take that!
I actually don't know. Kazuma's father knew that the evidence being used to convict him was fabricated. Why would he have said nothing in this trial? For me, I would protest my innocence until I was blue in the face. I don't know. Because this is just latest. This is because of the murder. This is the ring that it was in his stomach, but that doesn't have anything to do with this. So we have this. Nope. Nope. No, because this is like the Grues. Dismissal note? No. All rise to... Oh, wait a second. Ah, wait a second. Let's do this one.
Take that!
Yeah, there we go. Because he literally survived. Why would he not say anything? Because he knew he would live. It is true that Genshin Asogi's silence during his trial resulted in his conviction. But that didn't actually lead to his execution. On the contrary, it led to his escape. An escape that was so absolute because he had been sentenced to death. Although I find it hard to believe my father would have negotiated in that way, the defense is correct. A fake execution, falsification of the death certificate, and a jailbreak inside a coffin. Clearly such elaborate plan couldn't have been carried out by my father alone. He must have had help. Hold on, sometimes I cannot do this voice. He must have had help of a collaborate from the judiciary. I have here a dismissal note of the chief warden who was working in the prison at the time. The note reads, there are indications that the jailbreak was in planning prior to the inmate incarceration. In other words, there were suggestions of some sort of negotiation between Mr. Asogi and the British government. In exchange for his silence in court, he was given an assurance that he would be broken out of prison. Yes, with that sort of clandestine agreement in place, I can imagine he would have kept very quiet. I would go further than that, in fact. I would say that the elaborate jailbreak of Mr. Asogi can be explained in no other way. Order! First fabricated evidence and now jailbreak conspiracy. Of course, because it's all intimately linked. The prosecution wishes to summon new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses. People who can testify about the jailbreak that took place 10 years ago.
Governor Caden, and the poor chief warden of the prison.
I won't allow this trial to turn into a farce. To summon the governor of the prison after all these years. Oh, I wouldn't be any trouble, my lord. What?
Father, he is here, right?
My dear friend may appear a little rattle-padded at times, but I can assure you he is extremely thorough. He wired both Barclay and the local prison earlier, asking Governor Caden and Mr. Vigil to attend the Old Baileys as a matter of extreme urgency.
Mr. Sholmes did that. Holy shit, that dude!
Are you telling me that both men are here, unless I'm much mistaken? Waiting just inside the courtroom at this very moment.
My lord, I must permit this trial to proceed as declared at its outset. We promised that we would stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. He doesn't fucking like this. We don't need to get anyone. It's just like, yeah, come in.
Very well. Bring in the witnesses. Make no mistake, I too would like nothing more than to lay this business to rest once and for all.
Yeah, because you're the fucker behind it. It's because he's the fucker behind it, that's why.
Would the new witnesses state their names and occupation for the court, please? I, Barclay Caden, Governor of Barclay Prison.
Everyone calls me Gossip. Gossip. Everyone calls me Gossip. Your other persona, if you don't mind. Oh, I beg your pardon. Of course. I'm trying to like do the whole what I did with this thing before, and now I do it like this. My name is Daily Vigil. I used to be the chief warden at the Barclay Prison. The reason you've been summoned here to court today is to testify about the jailbreak of the so-called professor 10 years ago.
My lord, the professor. I've already been through all of this 4 decades ago. And the conclusion was that there wasn't anything untoward happened.
Unconvicted escape from your prison, Governor. Oh, or what you could call nothing untoward.
Oh, well.
The convict's death certificate was somehow falsified after he was allegedly executed, and he escaped the prison inside his own coffin. A plan of that complexity could never have been carried out without the help of somebody of influence inside the prison. Governor Caden, don't you imagine that the passage of time will afford you any protection? If it turns out that you were involved in the plot to break out Mr. Sog in prison, then of course the consequences will be very serious. In all likelihood, a capital punishment.
Guards.
Witness. Governor Caden.
Aye, sir.
You have a critical role to play in the public safety of our country. A great responsibility to shoulder. The significance of our testimony in court cannot be understated. Therefore, think carefully before you speak. Lad Professor Asogi, if you threaten the witness again, you will be held in contempt of court. There's no disputing fact that the intricate jailbreak plot was enacted 10 years ago. Clearly, you were both involved in some way. So you will testify before the court now and explain exactly what took place. Very well. Let the witnesses give their formal testimony. Tell the court everything you know about the plot to break Asogi out of Barclay 10 years ago.
It was the day that Japanese jock was found guilty. A directive came from the prosecutor's office. I assigned the convict to the chief warden vigil here and they put the plan into action behind the scenes.
I was responsible for Sagi's right up until the night of his execution. I knew nothing of any plot.
I don't know, keen if it was some negotiation between the convict and the prosecution's office. All I did was carry out my duty for His Majesty's great British Empire.
It came out from Lord Strongheart, I guess. Then. A directive from the prosecutor's office. Are you saying that the jailbreak's plot?
Why, that's right.
Who sent it? Who authorized the plan?
I'm not keen there.
You're saying you don't know?
Listen, there was a thing about the professor case that was unusual in that some way. I didn't ask any questions, I did what I was told, and no more, and more than that I could not tell you.
I see. But if the jailbreak plot originated from the prosecutor's office, then one thing is very clear. As suspected, there were clandestine dealings going between Mr. Sogi and that office. The jailbreak was promised in exchange for Mr. Sogi's admitting to crimes he didn't commit. That, counsel, is nothing more than a speculation on your part. So, let me ask the defense. Oh, yes, my lord. I fail to see how these witnesses has any more pertinent information. Do you intend to assert the right to cross-examination? Absolutely. I have no intention of squandering a single opportunity, my lord. It seems all you Japanese are fiercely tenacious. Very well. Proceed, counsel. And you say you don't know who actually issued the directives.
Alright, that's right. All I can be sure of is that it was official.
But if it was the prosecution's office, that narrows down who could have issued it straight away. And it wasn't me.
I can have to say with certainty that it did originate from the prosecutor's office.
What?
No telling where this started. There's a fair chance it came from higher up the ladder. Basically, they cannot give you any indication of who was behind it.
You cannot be serious.
All we can say for sure is that the orders must have come from somebody in authority, I suppose.
The lies of us on the ground, as it were, then I brother with the idle speculation. We just get the job done.
Okay. Interesting.
Hold it!
So, Mr. Vigil, you didn't know anything about it at all? That's right. My only role in the scheme was as a scapegoat. That's right, isn't it, Governor?
Some poor bugger had to take the rap for it.
Alright then. Then who else knew about the plan?
Not the first day, laddie. My part of the whole business was basically just dealing with the aftermath. How can they are surprised that there were other folks in the prison service who have been given similar orders?
So you know who...
No problem, turtle girl. See you on Thursday, I believe.
So have a good evening to you. Have a very, very good evening.
Aye, that's right. All I can tell you is that the night it actually happened, the person that it reigns was Dr. Stevens.
Dr. Courtney Stevens, or Scythe as she knows now. Why did I get caught up in such terrible business? I don't know, because they're assholes.
Hold it!
Did you not notice anything unusual happening in the lead up to that night? Oh, everything was unusual except exception of exception. After all, it was the professor, the man had terrorized a country as never before with his crimes. In order to hide his identity, he was forced to wear an iron mask over his head. Hideous treatment.
And the fellow was surprisingly docile for someone who'd taken the lives of few of the country's nobles.
Being the chief wardener, I was the only person permitted to approach his cell. I can still hardly believe that I was dumped by my own country. I believe you jumped from the window of governor's office when the jailbreak was blamed on you, didn't you?
Gosh, Vigil, I cannot apologize enough.
No, Governor, I do not believe you can. I won't change what happened. And what else can you tell us about the situation, Governor Caden?
Ugh.
Hold it!
Did you carry out the plan in its entirety?
I did everything I could at the time.
As you know, Genshin Asogi was shot dead in Lowgate Cemetery after his escape. Tell me, was that part of the plan too?
My instruction where to go with getting the drug out of the jail, nothing more. I can tell you anything about what happened after that, only. Personally, I believe his death was as the last part of the plan.
Excuse me.
Mr. Vigil, is something wrong? Oh, yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir? What Governor Caden was just saying seems to upset you.
Did it bring something to mind, perhaps? For the last 10 years, I completely blotted out the memories of that time from my mind. I was betrayed by my superiors in the name of my country. Just as my father was betrayed, it seems. But you see, I'm thinking back now. I really can't imagine that the shooting of Miss Asogi in the cemetery was never ever part of the plan. What makes you think that? Well, it just doesn't make sense, does it? Make the man admit to crimes he didn't commit with the promise of a jailbreak, only to kill him in the end. That treachery of the worst kind, but the point is, if the intention was always to betray him, why would there be any need for all the chicanery of an escape? Yeah, you can still fool him and then just execute him no matter what. Like, that doesn't matter at all. Yes, that's quite true. If whoever negotiated with Asogi never intended to keep his or her end of the bargain, it would have been far simpler just to let the man be executed, imprisoned as dictated by his sentence. It all happened at vast chamber of secrets that is Barclay, behind the high prison walls. But I suppose nobody knows what really went on in that execution room now. Yes, it's an unsettling mystery, certainly. Truth be told, there is a wee matter that never quite made sense to me. If you believe there was some kind of negotiation behind the jailbreak between Asogi and the body at the top, it doesn't quite add up, does it? Governor Caden, I must insist that you explain these doubts you have by amending your formal testimony. God, go on then.
Hold it!
Admitting to the crimes, that was what they had to bargain with, surely. I cannot say that for myself. After all, did the prosecution not have conclusive evidence against the Carly, eh? This, you mean, discovered during the final victim's autopsy. There is every possibility this conclusive evidence was fabricated by Scotland Yard and the prosecution's office.
Objection!
Possibilities that are very well. Nothing has been proved. You can holler about misconduct in the trial 10 years ago all you like. But if you can't establish that it happened with hard evidence, no one going to listen.
Yeah, that's right. So what I'm saying is, the company had nothing. Nothing the court could use any kind of bargain with at all.
The witness make an astute point. Logically, it would seem no negotiation could have taken place. And yet the plan to break out of the man out of prison was definitely put into practice. So he must have been armed with something that gave him an angle to negotiate. I don't know. I'm just checking some Discord stuff. There's something about this. Yeah, I'm gonna see something here. I might just end my stream a bit earlier, just like I can take care of some last school business stuff.
What? Oh, hold on.
Objection!
Let's do the papers. Confessing under oath to murder he didn't commit to a verbal assurance of later being broken out of prison. Genshin Asogi was taking an incredibly risky gamble. Very true. There was nothing to stop the British breaking their words and executing him behind the closed doors anyway. Under oath and normal circumstances, no man would take his life on a gentleman's agreement like that. Which means that Mr. Asogi must have had a trump card. Something that guaranteed he wouldn't be betrayed. Some kind of weapon. Heavens, the fella wouldn't I possibly have had anything like that? But you know that he did, Governor. The Asogi Papers, the name given to the last will and testament of Asogi. It turns out that Asogi has been hiding his will in a cell at Barclay. Chief Warden Virgil caught him with it one day. You squeal, did ya? You were a rat, didn't you tell you you'd keep that a secret? And Mr. Vigil caught sight of that will through the bars of the convict cell. Mr. Asogi pleaded with the warder. Alright, but what's on that paper? A lost will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. Your weapon? And after the convict had been killed following the elaborate pretense of the jailbreak, that document mysteriously disappeared, didn't it? Also, I'm gonna check. When did they actually send that? Yes, all the prison's wardens searched through their belongings in the cell, but that will was just nowhere to be found. As I understand, it's an executive search was made for the document, which became known as the Asogi Papers. Governor Caden, I believe you ordered your prison staff to find it at all costs, didn't you? Well, it would be right in saying that you knew. You knew that the so-called Asogi Papers had the potential to get great waves of them. Okay, what the blazes are you blathering about? The will was found right on proper. In the fellow's cell where I said it would be. But how can it be? But how can't that be? We're in a cell. We searched all the place from top to bottom. Well, you didn't do a proper job, barely well, Gullet. You cannot criticize me now. I show it for you afford, didn't I know? You're a lawyer. Yes, you did. I have the documents here. It's written in Japanese and it reads the last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. Which means everything is as it should be. Not quite, my lord. You see, there is an undeniable inconsistency here. What? What inconsistency? Mr. Asogi described this document as the only weapon he had left. And yet, this will contains nothing of significance at all. Nothing that all would have given the convict any leverage. Are you suggesting, my learned friend, that the last will and testament stored at Barclay Prison all these years is actually a fake? I'm gonna just see if I can write there. I'm gonna write that later, actually. I'm gonna probably end my stream soon so that I can just do the last thing there. What went on in Barclay Prison was far more above board. Mostly because I'm a half stressed, but that's because, like, they're like small stuff that has to be made, and because I held up like the beginning part of the thing, I get like all the questions of where things should be. And the problem is, like, it's after 7 and stuff, people ask me about it as well. I allow it, but I don't allow it as in I will answer you directly. It's more or less like I might be busy with something, which means I will answer when I can. But I just feel it's good to get that done, so I don't need to, like, care about it later. The man is quite easily be lying, or at the very least sorely mistaken.
What? No, I definitely heard him say that, I swear.
Clearly we need to go to the bottom of this. We need to know exactly what happened with these so-called Asogi papers. What a waste of time. If the will was a fake, where is the real document? Should I end it now? Okay, I'm gonna ask while I'm streaming. So sorry if I'm like doing stuff. There's just like some stuff there. I'm gonna do this so I can like just do that, see what's happening. Because my Discord is silenced right now. And now you're going to do it again. You're going to read to brand him a liar and turn your back on him without even letting him defend himself. What did you say? Oh god. Gonna just do. It would seem that a vocal few here are utterly blind to the truth. Very well then. Let the witness testify again. Tell the court precisely what you think you saw in the convict's last will and testament.
Yes, sir, my lord.
But I'm gonna do this. On Thursday, I don't have anything special other than the presentation of what we're doing now. So I think I'm gonna do that stream a little longer. Oh. Will. Oh, he meant that. I was just wondering mostly because he just wrote like where the weight of something were, and I didn't know like if he meant like the file as in the whole thing and stuff like that. But he was just looking for in the code. I can continue to at least 15, 45.
Return the cell inside out, looking for it after the execution, but no avail.
I only found out about the Asogi papers when a directive came telling me to impound them. The documents was folded in a fella's robe that was left in the cell. A kimono, I think it's called.
His kimono. That's a lie. We searched every inch of the man's cell. We looked through all his clothes. It can't be there.
Were you no satisfied with calling me a liar once, eh? You wee waffinger?
There's nothing you can do about it now. Don't have any hold over me anymore. Other than the hold you like to have on my cravat, of course. Is that what you're going to do, is it? Are you going to give me a good shake again? Or are
Are you too scared? Fucking hell, this guy though. We complied with Asogi's will as far as was possible. All of his personal effects were delivered to his family home in Japan. As courtesy of the homeland of the most nutritious killer of the country has ever seen. And now we're much obliged. I can confirm that all my father's belongings arrived safely. Why? And you cannot deny that the handwriting is that of your old man, eh? Yes, there is no mistaking that it's my father's brushwork. Really? And this last will and testament was the man's last weapon. I think we can safely assume that the convict was merely prattling, knowing that his end was not. I think it's inside the weapon. So, Counsel of for the Defense, your cross-examination, please. Sorry if I seem a bit like jiggly. Yes, my lord. So, just because there's so many bugs and shit like now, I might actually just end the stream earlier. Just to get that done with. It might be better to do it in here now, so I know what's going on. Probably a good idea. It's almost about 4:20 there.